Alrighty, so I'm looking at your work and I'm seeing some things here, Phoebe. Like I know number one had an error. That was a 4. I think autocorrect did something to me. I don't know. Or I might have been just momentarily crazy at that point. But anyway, I need you to go back and do number one, right? Number two, even though they were out of order, you had the right terms in the right set of parentheses, so I gave that to you. This one's fine, this one's fine. This one, I don't know what happened. It could be one that I had to edit, which is entirely possible. You seem to have a good grasp of the factoring, so just go back and redo that one. This one right here, I'm not sure why this is like it is. Let's just go back and redo number 8. All right, this is where I really wanted to get to talk to you. Find the equation of the line that passes through the following pairs of points. So what we have to do is we have to find the equation of the line here. And our little blank looks like this. Y equals blank x plus another blank, right? That's what it looks like. And so we're given these 2 points here, 3 and -5, and 2 and -1. And so we have to find the slope of the line and the b value where it crosses the y-axis. So we're going to do that by first finding the slope. And we find the slope by saying the change in y over the change in x. And that is expressed as y1 minus y2 and over x1 minus x2. And it doesn't matter which one of these you choose as 0.1 or 0.2, but I just usually do them in order. So this is going to be 0.1, this is going to be 0.2. So I'm going to say you put your y on top and your x on the bottom, minus, and your y on top. In this case, we have a -1, and then we have a +2. All right, so -5, this becomes a positive, so that's +1. -5 plus 1 is -4. 3 minus 2 is 1. So our slope is actually -4. So we would put -4 in the first blank, as evidenced right here. And now that we have the slope, we can solve for b by taking one of these points, and I'm going to use the first one just because it's there. Actually, I think I'm going to use the second one because it's smaller values, so it'll be easier to calculate in my head. So I'm going to put in the y value, -1 equals, and then I have -4 as my slope, and then my x is +2, and I don't know what the b is. That's what we're solving for, so plus b. So this is going to be -1 is equal to -8 plus b. If I add 8 to both sides, I find that 7 is equal to b. So 7, +7 in fact, is the point at which the line is going to intersect the y-axis. So I put 7 here. And this is how you would solve for the slope or for the linear equation for that particular line with those points. First you find the slope, put it next to x. Then you pick one of these points and sub in for the y value, which was the -1, and then the x value, which was 2, right, from this point here. And you can pick either point, whichever one you think is going to be easier to solve with. I like the smaller integers because it's just less calculation, less having to do math in my head. So my point for that is make it easier on yourself. Don't try to do it the hard way. And then that's all you would have to have done for that answer is -4 and 7. And I'm not sure where your fractions came from, but they are obviously not the right answer. So anyway, let's look at the next one. It's the same exact process, right? Let me clear this page. And we'll do that process again. And this time I'm going to use a black marker because I think it'll look better. So we have the points -3 and -3 and 6 and 5, right? So first we have to find the change in y and the change in x. I'm going to reverse it this time, and I'm going to call this one 0.1 and this one 0.2 just to show you it doesn't matter which way you do it. So I'm going to put the y on top, 5 over 6 y over x of the same point minus y over x, and they're both the same point, so that helps. All right, so this is our slope, so this would become 5 plus 3, and the same thing here, that'd be plus 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. 6 plus 3 is 9. So our slope is 8/9. So y is equal to 8 over 9x. Now we're going to take one of these points and substitute it in here to find our b. So we're going to say, I'm going to use -3. -3 is equal to 8 over 9 times -3 plus b. So -3 is equal to -24 over 9 plus b. I'm going to add 24 over 9 to both sides. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a denominator with 9. So I'm going to multiply the top by 9. So that's -27 over 9 plus 24 over 9 equals b. So that would be -3 over 9 equals b, which just equals -1/3. So then my linear equation would be y equals 8 over 9x minus 1/3. 8 over 9 minus 1/3 right here, because I put the minus sign here, so you didn't even have to think about whether it's positive or negative, but I did hope you would see that that was negative there and know that I had already changed that to a -1/3. So you see how easy that process is. You just find the slope, write it in here, y equals the slope, because this is the format of the line, y equals mx plus b. This is the slope that you put in, and this is the y-intercept that you put in when you sub in those values. Okay. Sorry, I was interrupted. I had to pause for just a moment. So use this process here on number 11 and number 12 as well. Going on to the rest of them, so you didn't do number 13. Let me clear this page. Let's talk about 13. There we go. All right. So number 13 would be the passenger train headed north at 70 miles per hour at 6 a.m. All right, so we've got this passenger train. He's heading north. This is north at 70 miles per hour, so 70 mph, and he left at 6 a.m. Okay, there's our first little thing. At 8 a.m., the freight train headed south from the same station at 30. So at 8, we have the freight. He's at 8 a.m. and he's heading south, the opposite direction from the passenger train, and he's going at 30 mph. At what time will they be 440 miles apart? So that's kind of your little illustration there. And I've given you the formula here. So all you have to do is make your table. So the rate and the time of the passenger and the freight. So we know the rate of the passenger is 70 miles per hour. We know the rate of the freight is 30 miles per hour. Okay, so we need to find the time for each. So we have the time of the passenger, and then we have the time of the freight is equal, he started 2 hours later. So the time of the freight is going to be the time of the passenger minus 2. So you're going to take these values, drop them into this formula, because their total distance is going to be 440 miles, because they're 440 miles apart. So you would say the rate of the passenger, which is 70, times the rate of, or the time of the passenger, which is TP, we don't know what that is is equal to the rate of the freight, which is 30, times the time of the freight, which is TP minus 2. So then you would solve for the time of the passenger, and then that would tell you how to solve for the time of the freight. Okay? Then we have lesson 14. 17% of the mob had a propensity for jogging. So 17% were joggers, right? And the rest just wanted to walk. So that means that 100 minus 17, that's going to be 83%, were walkers. If 3,825 wanted to jog, how many were in the mob? So there was a table that you had to set up, and it was joggers, walkers, total, and you had the percent here. So you had 17 for joggers, 83 for walkers, and 100 total. And then you had the quantity. We had the joggers were 3,825. We didn't know what the walkers were, and we didn't know what the total was, right? So this was W, and this was like T or something, whatever you want that to be. So all we need to do is ignore the walkers, right, and put 17 over 100 equals 3,825 over T. And we would find the answer to T when we cross multiply and solve for T. Then we could subtract 3,825 from the total to find out how many walkers we had. All right, easy peasy for that one. Lesson 105, you did great. Lesson number 16, you did great. Okay, my dear. You have got to use circles. If you don't use circles to indicate which point you're on and whether the point is included or not, it's going to get marked wrong. So here's the answer key for that. To let me show you what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a circle on the -2 and a circle on the +2, right? So you went from -2 to +2, but you're not telling me whether or not that point is included because you're not putting circles. So you might have figured it out, but you're not giving me what I need. So to refresh your memory, when you have a number line, let's say this is -2 and this is +2, if you have a less than symbol or a greater than symbol, you have an open circle. If you have a less than or equal to or a greater than or equal to, you need a closed circle. And that is important. That is part of the answer. If you don't do it like that, I have to mark it wrong because that is the lesson that we're trying to learn, and you will have this in college. So as high up as you want to go, you're going to be seeing that. All right? That's all I have for you. Please go back and redo those so you can bring your grade up. It's a really, really ugly F right now. We don't want that. You are capable of so much more, and you typically do so much better. I'm sure there was just something that you were confused about, and I know my typos did not help the situation. Thank you for finding those. And I will see you tomorrow.